Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and today we are checking out Neobarok. Now this is actually a completely one-of-a-kind application. It is completely free, 3D modeling and sculpting application, and if you are right to this channel, it may actually sound a little bit familiar. That's because I covered it back in January of 2019, but since then, the second edition has been released. There is a new version to check out, so that is exactly what we're going to do today. Now I'm not going to show you this program with any kind of competency, because quite frankly, it is challenging to learn. We'll go with the word challenging, but we're going to start straight away. I'm going to show you Neobarok hands-on, and then we'll get into some of the details about it. By the way, this is available for all major platforms, available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and as I mentioned off the hop, it is completely free, and it'll run, if your machine has OpenGL 3.3 or higher, you're good to go. So here we are in the Neobarok interface, and I've got to tell you straight off the hop, things can get a little bit dicey. It looks fine on this monitor. On my other one, these are unreadable and cropped off, but running in 4K at least works. This can't be resized, and I actually have to admit, as far as fonts go, I despise this font. I would actually rather have Comic Sans than this font. But those are all small nitpicking things. Let's get in here and show you some of the uniqueness to this tool, and you're going to get an idea why I'm willing to put up with some really weird UI decisions to check this thing out. So I'm going to come here into Tool. You can see this little hamburger here, and here's where we can get into our primitives. I'm going to go ahead and we'll create a sphere. All right, simple enough. And now I'm going to zoom in on it, which, by the way, zoom is exactly backwards. You scroll down on the wheel for some reason. I don't get that one. But now we've got here, I can actually go ahead and I'm drawing on the surface that we just created. So if you were creating a Dalek, this is a really powerful tool. But now what I can actually do, again, is just zoom one more time, and we can just start doing this infinitely, really. So I can just keep going. You can see the yellow selection around what we were dealing with, and I'm going to just create more, like so. Or I could come over here, we could turn on some symmetry tools. So we're going to mirror along the x-axis, like so. And there you see. So you can start making these compound objects really, really quickly. You can notice the user interface is just fine. I can just basically keep building sub-objects, and the size of them is basically being determined by my zoom level. So I can just keep coming in here and building more and more intricate compounded objects. But then what I can do is I can actually come up here and I could go ahead and just say control right click this whole thing, and then just basically say pick object. Now you can notice here now my tool is actually what we just created. So now when I start drawing, I turn symmetry off, and now I can start instancing those objects and so on. So you can just kind of keep going. Or we can actually come in here and create, for example, a path of objects. So let's do this one right here. And now I just basically start drawing in a sequence. And there you go. So you can do strings of objects here. You can also do, it's starting to get a little busy. Let me just zoom out a little bit more. We can do Extruded Loft. So I could grab this guy right here and I basically just start creating like so. And then once we've got that guy, I can come up here and we've got sculpting tools. Now if I hold and drag, you'll see we've got just, I don't know why these others are grayed out. I don't know if those are functions that are going to be added or otherwise, but we've got the smooth and deformation stuff here. So I can come in here, go into the deformation, and I'm breaking the geometry really fast, but as you see, you got traditional sculpting tools in here as well. Or I could switch back again and go over to smooth. Oops, I orbited. All right, stop that. And I can start smoothing out, especially if I start making some of those tweaks or problems in my workflow, I can fix them that way. There is an absolute ton of capability here. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and I can take something, I can register it as a tool, and you come up here and you can see that is now a tool available for use. So I could go ahead and just start creating those like mad in the world. So I'm gonna cancel out of there like so. On top of that, you've got some basic material support in here. So if I come in here and go ahead and create, we'll start with sphere again. All right, I'm back after a quick restart. I screwed something up with my my axes there from the zooming in and out and so on. Sometimes it's faster just to do a restart. So we've got a basic shape going on. I can come over here. We've got control over the material. So now I could do this. We got a red one right here. We could create a new one like so, or you can actually select the guy and change its materials accordingly. As you see, we've got metallicness available here and roughness available there. You see we've got HDR environmental maps in the background. We've got some control over the lighting that affects it and so on. So you don't have texturing support, but you do have basic material composition support there. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Basically, it's a modeler where we can start doing things using compounded shapes, create more complex shapes, use those shapes to make other shapes, and it all kind of works together from there. You've got control over curve axis, you create arrays of objects, and then you've got various different tools that are kind of hidden away under. So right now, a lot of these things I can't actually even select, but if I go ahead, let's do a control right click and pick this object, I can now select some of them. It's a very, again, there is a very obtuse learning curve. There's this button here called Dynamics that if you click it, it toggles dynamics on and off. I'm not 100% certain what that's all about. And where that kind of gets into a challenge is what we will see in just a second. So that's a quick hands-on with Neobarok. Now, again, I don't have a ton of experience with this thing, but I've seen enough of it to know that it does some things in a completely unique manner. And if what you like is of use to you, you can actually go ahead and do a save as, and you can export out into object format. So object formats are basically supported by, that's the wavefront object format. It's supported by pretty much every single modeling tool and game engine you can think of. So you can get your assets out of here and into your pipeline of choice. So if there's something that you like in the workflow, maybe for creating base meshes or compounded shapes, that kind of stuff, this is a very unique and interesting tool. Plus, we can also start working on things as a compounded whole. So here you can see, I've got a bunch of shapes in the world, but if I go here into the sculpting mode for it and do the deformations on it, it will, see, you can do it on all of them. So now you see I've created, I don't know, a horrifying squid monster or hair or whatever. It's just a completely unique workflow. You can control how things are chained together. So you can have it add to the child, add to the parent, add to the scene when you create new stuff. So you really are all about creating these compound, intricate objects. And then the rest of the tools, again, you got these paint tools in here, for example. So paint, and honestly, I have no idea how they work. And that's where the next challenge kind of comes in. And this actually goes back to one of the criticisms I had of Neobarok when I did the video the first time, had a small rant in it about their marketing. And they really, if you go to their website, which we're on right now, here we are. So once again, you can see, you can download it for 2.0 for Windows, Linux, and OS X. That's awesome. And then nothing else really. So we got the download links there. We got some contacts, we've got some crowdfunding. That'll bring you to an Indiegogo campaign, which unfortunately didn't make its target. But then we can kind of get in here to the guide. I was sitting here on the guide, and I was watching it on a smaller monitor. So let me just get out of full screen so you can actually emulate my experience. So I was on this guide right here, and I'm like, okay, where's the guide? And then it dawned on me, oh, there's a hamburger up here. So by the way, if you do go to check out the manual, this menu won't show up unless you're on a really high def screen. So do be aware of that. Also, you're going to find, here are the things that have changed in time. And this is one of the really cool things. We've got CSG, or that's basically when you're making compounded objects out of other objects. So we've got a bit of an overview of how things work, of where stuff is, but my goodness, you're on your own for a lot of things. So for example, primitives. Yeah, it took me a while to even figure out where primitives were. It wasn't immediately intuitive to come in and check out right here. And then when I went and looked at the documentation, it's sparse at times. You want to learn about arrays? You're on your own. Good luck. Want to learn about profiles? Yeah, you're on your own. Good luck. Revolution tools are in there, which, by the way, I didn't showcase those, but those are actually pretty cool. So that's another tool we've got here. We do a Revolution tool, and you can basically... I'm not in edit mode. I need to be in edit mode. All right, should be there now. We can do things like that. It's like a bi-rail loft. Really cool stuff you can create out of that as well. By the way, you got control over your camera settings down the side here. You can change your lighting out. One of these changes the camera. Where did you go? Was it this one? Yeah, right here. So you can have it shaded only or full PBR workflow. So again, the documentation isn't going to get you far. This is what you've got, and then a series of YouTube videos that are like literally like 30, 40 seconds long each. So just be aware, if this does look interesting to you, you're going to have a bit of a challenge. Now, back to my original rant with Neobarok itself, the first version, is they hid everything, a lot of the information and knowledge behind on Facebook. And I hate Facebook, and I know many of you hate Facebook as well. But you come in here, this is actually where you can see updates. I was actually starting to wonder, was this application abandoned? There's no news here. There's no details here. I think even if I go over to Twitter, there's very little. Oh, sorry, that's Tumblr. Is Tumblr even a thing anymore? Yeah, so there's no Twitter either. And the YouTube stuff, again, is a bunch of videos that are like 30 seconds long. So you start kind of coming on the impression that, all right, is is this dead? Like, is there nobody developing on this? But then you come over here to Facebook and you find, oh, August. Oh, so there's definitely some activity here. Again, my original rant still holds true. Most of us, or many of us, especially in the development community, hate Facebook. Don't gate your content behind Facebook, because this really, it makes it look like this project is dead. And in the reality, some of the most important information you're going to find is here locked behind Facebook. Some little tips and tutorials and tricks and so on, but they're only on Facebook. Ugh. All right, so off that topic, I was kind of hoping after I did the first video that maybe would have been addressed, but I have a feeling I may be talking to myself at this point. But anyways, Neobarok, it's a really cool idea. There are some things, again, like the fonts here that I am not so keen on. Again, you got all kinds of control over your camera settings and the shader levels, etc. And you've got an undoable history that you can handle there. It's just, you're going to have to really dive in and figure this one out yourself. But it is kind of worth doing so, because the workflow here is just so different from so many other programs. And you can do things like what we did really rapidly with these guys. And then once again, we could come in here, take anything, turn it into a tool itself, and then just start making those, or making arrays of those, or making child elements that you do on top and expand out. And then now we're making, now we're really ticking my computer off, to be honest. But you can make things and workflows out of this that you couldn't in a lot of other environments. But just good luck trying to figure it out, because I've spent a couple hours with this thing and there's still so much more to try to figure out there. And again, the user interface itself isn't the most intuitive thing you're ever going to see, but the potential behind it just makes it so worth sharing. So again, revisit Neobarok. It's going in interesting directions. It's a really kind of interesting tool with the ability, once again, to export things out to OBJ format so you can use this in your own workflow. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Let me know what you think, comments down below. Also, let me know what you think about putting information on Facebook as a sole source, because again, this is really cool. Hey, you can do clay, and how do you do this? Oh, it's only on Facebook. Not a fan. Anyways, let me know what you think. Comments all down below, and I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.